Do you want me to throw you that ball? Do you want me to throw you that ball? This is Ripley's dilemma. Ripley has pulled something in her leg, so she's limping and she's getting no ball. So she keeps sniffing around the fields to find a ball, like she thinks, you haven't got a ball. Here it is. You got a ball now. Let's play. It's a really great demonstration of need. I mean, that's what's really interesting about animals. They reveal need implicitly, and that's why they're mesmeric to watch at. They don't equivocate. They don't hide. There's no subtext about them. The reason I'm doing this is March class is about 2 weeks away, and really thinking very hard about the journey of an actor from training the instrument, and that is really getting the actor to access much more of their instinct, their intuition, their impulses, their emotions, right? Not to colour their work, but that actually the flow of the unconscious changes like this, it creates the reality of the world. It's perception, as it were. And that, to a large degree, creates experience, and experience creates relationship. It creates interaction, as it were. See, look, there's a dog still waiting for me to throw the ball. And it's that interaction which is the dynamics of drama, need, obstacle, etc. So you train the instrument very specifically, because the instrument, if not flowing, is really actually a barrier to the actor's creativity. And there's a word that Stanislavski used, and it's called inspiration. If something is inspiring, I'm motivated. If something doesn't feel real to me, or I feel the pressure of the director, or my need to be good, or I'm thinking about what the industry wants, or all of these things, that's not inspiration, right? That is effectively tension. But I was really thinking about this because you can work with the instrument and a lot of sense memory. A lot of these things open up very cathartic flows of self, a deeper connection with being a human being. They're profoundly moving, inspiring, but they don't necessarily translate to good acting. And the reason being is because that whole primary preparation is about having a relationship with the structure, with the text, with the character, the narrative, the direction, the camera angle, you name it. I mean, acting used to be simple because it was on a flat thing called a stage. You walked around, you had some props. Now it's very complicated. Green screens, you're doing close-ups, the person may not be there. We're having to do self-tapes as our auditions. All of these things are constructs, and they are alienating to our inspiration and our creativity. And I was really thinking about the March class because we have scene study work, and scene study work is where we translate the work we do in technique, which is the instrument, the improvisation, in the body, starting to allow your thoughts, impulses, and emotions to flow, right? It really is a kind of primary Meisner exercise in the sense of, instead of repetition happening in your concentration with something else, it starts with the self, because it's always with the self. Let me explain this. Even when you're doing a repetition exercise, you are fundamentally working from the self, because that's the thing that's responding to whatever the givens are, wherever your focus is. And even that, and this is really what Sanford was trying to do, is that in that interaction, it's stimulating experiences. But the idea of Sanford is that actually they actualize those experiences more externally rather than internally. The criticism of Strasberg to a certain degree is that if I stay with just the internal, it really lacks activity, it lacks dynamics, it lacks a journey, as it were. But again, that to a large degree misunderstands Strasberg, but it also points out that sense memory and these things alone are not enough. You see, the thing is that construct is not instruction. Construct is potential inspiration. If I look at the given circumstances and I say, for instance, character, walking on a cloudy day, right, processing, having lost a job, right, it's very different than character walking on a sunny day, processing having lost a sunny job. If the writer puts it in as a symbolism that the character's path is complicated or clouded or uncertain, that may be a given that I can work with, not in a sense of mood, but in a sense that it might be a given structure that inspires me, doesn't just instruct me. Again, a lot of actors say this, says character cries, character shouts, and they are really boring when you see things like that, and they're normally put in to give a sense of what is the dramatic flow, and that's for the reader, for the producer, etc. But for the actor, they find that really frustrating because it becomes a result, it becomes an instruction, rather than using it as a form of inspiration. Why is the character angry? So if we think about it, if you start to look at all of the givens of the script, and again the givens of the actor might be the inspiration, right? There's lots of it around. Rather than it being instruction, it might become inspiration. Now you as an actor might find that sufficient, and to be honest, a lot of acting is very much about dealing with all of these things, and that's what I act with. But of course, if I'm not really listening to the instrument, when I start acting with it, I start performing it, I start pretending it, I start indicating it, because I've yet to define the internal energy to explore the construct. And if I'm a very imaginative actor, and there are imaginative actors, there are sub-actors that really training can actually be detrimental to their growth, that imagination fires up. But most actors, their imagination is, I've got to be good, I'm going to fail. This is the central truth. This is why you train the instrument, because there's a drama going on in you already. And if you don't get hold of that drama, all of this is going to be about your stuff. And it won't even be interestingly dramatic, it will just be bad acting. So I'm really focused on the March unit because really I want members in class, when they're working on scenes, to really understand that all of the structure, the given circumstances, the text, and structure that they can then construct, which is blocking, use of props, revelations, etc. We were doing a self-tape, and in the self-tape the use of an envelope full of money was there. No one was really using it as an inspiration. They just did it in the tape as instruction. I have money, I have to hand it. It's an instruction, I do it. Rather than, it's money, I look at the character, you gonna fuck me over again, are you? Okay, here we go. And then I pick it up and I'm still doubting it. And so it becomes inspiration if I can first understand what the instruction of it is about. And it becomes even more inspiring if I have an instrument that can play with the construct and the inspiration of it. And that is where the complexity, the kind of alchemy of acting really comes in. It's what I call mind, body and soul. When you can put those things together, things become really interesting for you and for the people watching your work. So I very much hope that for regular members and new members, you're signing up, you're getting in the room, because there's a lot of interesting ideas I'm going to be playing with this month. What should we do, dog? Watch this. See the ball? It's going in my pocket. I'm sorry. Ripley. I'm a real meanie, but it's for their best. Alright, be creative. Think about the constructs. Just don't do it. Really relate to it. See what imaginatively that construct, that instruction, starts to make you think about. And if you can do that and you haven't thought about the character, you're in the right place. Ciao.